Okay, today we're going to look at why you need a budget, and we're going to give an example of a sample budget. Okay, so first, a budget is a written account of your income and your expenses. To put it simply, whatever form it takes, you have a budget if you know how much money is coming in per month and where that money is going. Okay, it doesn't matter what form of your budget it is, whether it's on paper, whether it's digital, whether it's in your brain. If you know the money coming in and you know where you're spending the money, you have a budget. So why do we do that? It is the number one best way to keep track of your money. You want to keep track of your money because it is necessary to save money. It is necessary to save money because money is needed for extra money, I should say, to save extra money. Extra money is needed for an emergency fund, a retirement account, a savings account to make major purchases. To stay out of debt, you need extra money. To go to bed and not worry about money, you need extra money. And to have fun, you need extra money. So if any of these are your goals, you need extra money. And to get extra money, you have to save money. And to save money, you have to keep track of your money. And the best way to keep track of your money is to have a budget. Now, there is perhaps one type of person that does not need a budget. And that person is one that has a very well-paying job, and that person naturally does not spend money at all. So a person is very tight with their money, they have a very good paying job, and they research all their choices to make sure what they do buy is the correct thing to buy. That person probably doesn't need a budget. They will have extra money every month, and then they just need to know where to put it: emergency fund, retirement account, savings account, etc., etc. That type of person is very, very rare. Think about it. Are you that type of person? You pretty much know if you're that type of person. You know if you have a good paying job, and you know if you spend money or don't spend money. It is extremely rare that that type of person exists. So then for the rest of us, we need and use a budget. Now, I am going to show you the pen and paper way to create a budget and to find out what salary you're going to need to fulfill your budget. But in the end, I firmly believe you are going to go and find and use a good budget app. This is the 2020s. Everything is done on an app. And you know what? It's probably easier and more powerful than a pen and paper way. However, I caution you. Know what you're doing first, and then use the technology. Figure it out, how to do it without an app, and then go do it with an app. Because it's the 2020s, people. I'm never going to use a budget app. I'm far too old to be using phone budget apps. Probably be very good for me. I'm not going to go there. I'll leave that to you. So let's get into it. Doing our budgets on the paper with an example. So what we have is monthly expenses. Okay, we're going to think of our budget by month. Now, some of these things we know by what it costs per year. Well, we'll just divide by 12 to figure out what we need by month. So they're organized in no particular order, although it usually starts with the ones we absolutely know the exact amount first. That's usually how we start it, and then it gets into the nebulous ones that could change here and there. Okay, for this example, we're just going to use something fairly average. And so let's say if you own your own house, you're going to have a mortgage payment because you borrowed money to buy your house, and you're going to have property taxes. We're also going to think we're in the area, in New York, in the area. So let's quickly figure out how much our mortgage payment is going to be. So we need to find out what interest rate we borrowed at. So let's just go to a local bank and see where the interest rates are today. let's say you purchased a house today, you would be locked in for 30 years with a 3.4% interest rate. Oh wow, that's so low. It has almost never been that. It is a great time to buy a house right now. That interest rate is so low. And interest rate is how much it costs every single year on what you owe, 3.4, right? So let's say you're going to buy a $150,000 house, but you are going to put 20% in cash, which is the safe way to go. So you'll actually be borrowing $120,000. Your mortgage is $120,000 at 3.47, I think we said, for 30 years, every single month, $537 per month. Now I did the math, and the property taxes vary city by city by city, but in our case here, we're going to say it's $500 a month for your school and city taxes per month. Now, if you rent, your property taxes are covered in your rent, so you just put in your rent per month instead of your home payments. Okay. When you have a house, you need homeowners insurance. Okay, and it's going to be for this house about $40 a month. Now, if you rent, you have renter's insurance, but that is pennies. You don't even really have to. It might be $10 a month. You probably don't even have to figure it in. Okay, water is not free, and even if you rent, you have to figure out: do you pay for water, or does your rent cover your water? Okay, when you own your own house, water is not free, and it comes out to be maximum of $1 a day, which is $30 per month, and some towns, water is half of that, so it would be $15 a month. Normal one-person usage. Garbage is not free, depending. Some cities it is, some aren't. If garbage isn't free, you're usually looking at $30 a month. Electric and heat kind of go together. They are two separate things, and this varies month by month. But typically, I tend to think that electric and heat average out to about $200 a month. It's a little more in the winter, a little less in the summer, and you can make it even more or less if you don't have air conditioning, but roughly let's plan on $200 per month. Now, health insurance is going to be a very big variable. Okay, some people are going to be paying a lot for health insurance, and others are going to be paying a lot less because the health insurance is subsidized by their job. Let's say your health insurance is subsidized by your job, and all you pay is $100 a month, which is really, really good. That's probably the best you're going to get. It could be more. I am going to put retirement savings as a must. I don't care what job you are, if you have a pension or whatnot, start thinking that retirement savings per month should be part of your budget. Everyone should do this to be independent and not having to rely on anyone for their retirement. Every American who works and gets a paycheck can put aside $6,000 a year currently, which comes out to be $500 a month. And if you're self-employed, there are ways you can save also that's not the $6,000 a year. But if you're getting a paycheck, it's $6,000 a year, which comes out to $500 a month. And we can say phone is about $75, and internet's is about $50. So on this assumption right here with a car payment, let's take an assumption that we are going to buy a cheap new car every single 7 years. So let's do the math on that. First, we have to find out what the interest rate is for a car loan. Okay, new car, and you're never going to do a 7-month car loan, but let's just make the math easy, okay? 84 months, 7 years, 3.69% interest. You don't have to spend more than $20,000 on a new car, 3.69 interest, loan period 84 months, 7 years, $271 a month. Car insurance, let's say this is individual, but let's say it's $600 a year. You may have something different. If you're sitting there saying, oh, it's got to be so much more, well, come talk to me when you realize exactly how much you make on your first job and what you need to bring it down to reach your budget. If you want to spend a lot on clothes and shoes, be my guest, but make sure you're on that $500 a month retirement savings and $500 savings for a house. A lot of people are like, oh, I can spend a lot of money on these lower things, but what they do is they just take from their retirement and they take from their house savings, and then they get themselves into trouble in the future. And so a lot of people, what they're doing for coffee, eating out, entertainment, gifts, clothes, more than you need, what they're doing is they're borrowing from the future. They're literally borrowing from their retirement, and they're borrowing from their purchase of a house so they can have eating out and entertainment now. All right, personal hygiene, you're going to want to figure in haircuts, soaps, toilet papers, makeups. This is going to have to be very personal. We're just going to put down $30. Why not? Gifts is a real thing. Gifts is a real thing, and it can add up per month. So let's think about it. If you have a few people that you care about in your life, it might come up to be about $50 a month. And let's give ourselves, other is those little things that come up, little things here and there. Let's give ourselves $100 a month for other. Now we can take a look at the last three. And a lot of people are going to find that they're going to have to make these go down to close to nothing, because if they want to achieve their goals, they don't have enough income to afford the bottom ones. And they can add up. I mean, some people, well, good for you. You're going to go to Cumberland Farms and spend $2 a day on coffee instead of a $4 a day at Starbucks. So good for you. That's still $10 a working week and $50 a month. That's still a big part of your budget. I'm putting 0 for coffee because guess what? I can't even say a vast majority. You know what? The people who want to achieve their financial goals, they buy coffee at the grocery store and it's part of food. Eating out, sure. Have some eating out, maybe $40 a month. Until you have the income, until you make the budget, we don't know how much eating out should be. And entertainment, sure, $40 a month. Okay, so we've got a lot of monthly expenses. Let's put it together and see how much do we need to make per month, and how much should our emergency fund be? All right, after adding up all our monthly expenses, we get $3,600 per month. Now, let's use that to figure our emergency fund. If you want to be safe, you want 6 months of expenses in your emergency fund. Now, they say at least 3 months. But if you want to be safer, have 6 months. And you ask yourself, could you really lose your job and have no income for 6 months? Well, I can tell you something. It's happened twice in 15 years to many people. In 15 years, it is going to happen twice. In the recession of 2008 and the recession of 2020. So if you want to be safe, you have 6 months. Otherwise, you have 3 months. Now, when you're using your emergency fund, you are not going to be, if you lose your job, not going to be saving for retirement or savings for your big savings. And you're going to cut your gifts, entertainment, and eating out down to 0, and your others you're going to pinch and save. Okay, so let's take those out. So your bare necessities per month are about $2,400. Times it by 6. Your emergency fund should be $14,700. And you should be able to get that $14,700 just in case you have to be out of work for 6 months. Now, if our total expenses are $3,600 per month, how much do we have to make per year to satisfy all our financial goals? Well, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust that, okay? Because in our example, the person already owned their own house, so there's no reason for them to save for another house, okay? But they might be saving for something else, but not at $500 a month, so I'm just going to adjust their monthly budget with $250 less savings because they're not saving for a house, they're saving for something else, okay? So their monthly expenses are $3,350. Well, that's easy. If you just multiply it by 12, you totally know how much you have to make. $40,000, and you can fulfill all your financial goals. It's just that simple. Oh wait, it's not that simple because that's after tax. Now, if you earn $40,000 a year salary, that doesn't mean you have $40,000 a year to spend. Oh no, the government will take money, and they will take, quite frankly, quite a bit. So we have to see what your salary is before tax. So let's get this website here and reverse engineer it. If we need $40,000 after taxes, we end up having to put in $51,000 salary before taxes. If we make $51,000, the federal government will take $4,500. Social Security and Medicare, that's FICA, will take $4,000, and the state of New York will take $2,300. Total income tax taken, $10,700, and that will leave us with $40,000. So 50. Let's plug it in. We need a salary of $51,000. So there it is. So where do we run into problems? Well, one of the big problems is it's not entirely easy to get a $51,000 a year job. So maybe the income's lower, so maybe you got to get the income up. Some other problems we run into. Well, this is one person, one income, owning a fairly costly house. We could reduce some cost there. Whether it's a problem or not, this is someone who is saving for the future, probably funding their emergency funds, and they're saving for their retirement. And so we are getting some big expenses there. We haven't figured in student loans. That could lead to a problem. And I'm going to be pretty honest, this other at $100 and eating out and entertainment only at $40 each, many people spend much, much, much more. The real problem is lots of people are not saving up for an emergency fund / house, and they are not saving for their retirement, and that's how they balance their budget. All right, and that is example budget. See ya. All right, and that's how to create an example budget. Now that you know, go research and download the best app you can and let it help you create your own budget. See ya.